I'm Peter Sims, I'm the producer and the art director for the film Alone.
I'm Shane Mangaziel, the director of photography.
I'm Rob Hamilton, visual effects artist for Alone.
Darren Maxwell came along to me one day and said, need a producer for Alone. Read the script, we made some good decisions on the script, and we started getting things organised.
Working with Darren before on several projects, we have a really good rapport, and often we come to the same conclusions in the same shots and done in the same way. We also really bounce off each other, which is really excellent. So the working relationship is really there.
This is the first producing job I've come across. Challenging to say the least, making sure that things are organised and people and cast and crew and getting auditions done and having everything from catering to getting the equipment organised. We got a brand new Holden Monaro 2004 model. We got that from Ferntree Gully Holden, the guys down there are fantastic. And we took that down to Caldermead and shot a little bit of location down in Rowville and in Clayton for that as well.
It's extremely difficult shooting a vehicle from certain angles and for it to be that shiny. You can look for as much things as possible, like if you've got a tiny bit of dolly tracks in shot, you try to frame them out and you get something else.
Problems that we had with the car included the reflection of camera crew and camera equipment, especially when doing close-ups. We tried as best we could during production to make sure that we didn't actually get the reflection of the crew, but unfortunately there were some points that were unavoidable, and that included me having to paint them out frame by frame.
So he actually made the material I shot, he made me look better, which was really great.
When Darren first approached me, the idea was that he wanted Mannix to be in the middle of nowhere where he couldn't get any help.
We had to find a long stretch of straight road, which seemed to be a little bit tricky. We travelled literally the countryside. We went south of Melbourne many hours looking for roads until we found a place in Caldermead, a road that just ran straight as far as the eye could see till it peaked at the very end in both directions.
Unfortunately, because of our location, there were a number of poles with wires that needed to be removed as a way of showing that the character was in the middle of nowhere. So we went about painting out frame by frame all poles so that it actually looked like there was no help that he could ever reach.
The location-wise, I mean, besides the distance, I mean, it's just kind of normal things anyway, but it was really hot and
we had flies galore everywhere. But it still had a nice scenery about it, just for the simple fact that it was still green and sort of looked lush and wasn't dead. So everything in the end turned out to be good down there.
The idea of the vortex was originally created in the script, but during post-production the idea was that the colour grading of the film would be a little different, so that we knew that the main character was in this perpetual loop, walking in a straight line and returning back to his original car. This meant that we were sucking out a lot of the colour, a lot of the brightness, so that things were sort of brown, sort of dull looking, where the rest of the film was a bright, vibrant green and blue. Sky replacement came about when we had a look at the final edit. We discovered that because of filming over the 3 days, certain things didn't quite look right because the sky changed. So with the help of digital photos, which I took during production, we used those to replace a lot of the skies so that things flowed well, so that from one shot to the next, the skies looked pretty much the same.
The idea behind Alone is that the car is somehow possessed, but we never learn by what. However, its mission is not to physically kill people. What it does do, though, is put the car's owners in a situation where they can choose to live or die depending on whether they pass or fail a particular test.
The idea of the vortex is that the evil car is purchased by Mannix, which then breaks down in the middle of nowhere. Mannix, deciding that he needs to find help because his mobile phone does not work, walks forward in order to look for help. After walking a straight road, he comes across another car. Discovering that that car is in fact his actual car, he looks at the odometer to discover that it has an additional 30 kilometres. This is the beginning of the vortex, and he has two options. The first is that he continues to walk forwards, in which he would break from the vortex and he would find a house, and that way he would be safe. The other option is to go with curiosity and to return to the original car that broke down. Deciding on curiosity, he returns to his original car, where he finds that car, but it has an additional 30 kilometres, now making it 2,060 kilometres. Once again, he has another option. He may continue to return back the way he came, which would then take him to a new car, or he may walk forwards, in which he would break the cycle. Returning again to the next car, he finds the new car, which once again has an additional 30 kilometres, which would take it to 2,090. Once there, he walks forward and breaks the cycle. Now, having walked 90 kilometres in the last 5 days with no food or water, his body breaks down and he passes out and dies.
The car, acknowledging that Mannix has broken the cycle, meets Mannix one more time to witness his demise. This is the car's way of finalising the fact that Mannix failed the test. Once Mannix dies, the car returns to his driveway to be sold to a new owner, so the whole process can repeat itself.
Had he kept going backwards and forwards between the two vehicles, he would have remained in the vortex, and thus he would have survived. It wouldn't have been much of an existence, he just would have kept going backwards and forwards forever. The only thing is, if he kept doing this several times backwards and forwards, then it would have been more than 3 to 5 days. It could have been a week, 2 weeks. Thus, as soon as he decides to break the cycle, he would have practically died instantly.